Imagine waking up on a Sunday morning, expecting peace, but instead, Benin awoke to chaos on December 7, 2025. The usual TV shows were replaced by a group of stern-faced soldiers announcing they had seized control. News of the coup spread instantly. Panic, confusion, and fear gripped the nation. People scrambled for information, desperate to know. Who were these soldiers? Where was the president? The soldiers promised a new beginning, but outside, sirens and gunfire shattered any sense of hope. Benin, once a symbol of stability, was suddenly on the brink of collapse. Rumors swirled. Was the president safe? Had he fled or been captured? The soldiers looked confident on TV, but the streets told a different story. Violence and uncertainty everywhere. For ordinary people, it was a day of fear and disbelief. The nation's future, once secure, was now up for grabs. The world watched, wondering if Benin would be the next domino to fall in West Africa. But for Beninese citizens, this was personal. Their home, their lives, their future. The coup was just beginning, and no one knew what would come next. The nightmare had only started. The coup didn't come out of nowhere. It was years in the making. President Patrice Talon, once hailed as a reformer, became increasingly authoritarian. Opposition leaders were jailed or exiled, and even Talon's former allies weren't safe. In January, 2 ex-allies were sentenced to 20 years for allegedly plotting a coup. Many saw this as Talon eliminating rivals. The legislature, packed with Talon's supporters, extended the presidential term, fueling accusations of a power grab. The main opposition candidate was disqualified, leaving only Talon's chosen successor. Democracy felt like a performance with a predetermined winner. Resentment simmered, and by December, the pressure exploded. Gunfire near the presidential palace signaled the breaking point. The coup was the violent result of years of political repression and growing anger. The soldiers on TV were not outsiders. They emerged from deep fractures within Benin's own political system. The nation was primed for rebellion. At dawn, Benin State TV showed a dozen soldiers in full gear, led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri. Tigri declared the president removed, the government dissolved, and the constitution suspended. All institutions, parliament, courts, were shut down. The Military Committee for Refoundation, or CMR, was now in charge. Tigri promised a new era of justice and dignity, but his words came with a show of force. Borders were closed, political parties banned, and a nationwide curfew imposed. The message: absolute military control, no tolerance for dissent. The broadcast ended abruptly, plunging the country into an information blackout. Radios went silent, rumors filled the void. The CMR's dramatic entrance left Benin in darkness and fear. Their grip on power was uncertain, but their intentions were clear. The silence after their proclamation was ominous. The real struggle for control was just beginning. Benin was now under military rule, at least for the moment. The nation waited, anxious and in the dark. After the soldiers' broadcast, Cotonou fell eerily silent. Streets emptied, shops closed, and fear settled over the city. No one knew where the fighting was or who controlled what. The blackout left people desperate for news, clinging to rumors. Phone lines jammed, families cut off from each other. With borders closed, Benin felt like a prison. Military roadblocks appeared everywhere, soldiers tense and unpredictable. Foreign embassies urged their citizens to stay indoors. The fate of President Talon was the biggest mystery. Was he alive, captured, or on the run? In a coup, the leader's status is everything. The silence from Talon's camp deepened the uncertainty. Ordinary people were trapped in a dangerous power struggle. The city waited, fearful and unsure who was truly in control. As the CMR claimed victory, the government fought back with words. Ministers used social media and foreign press to declare the coup a failure. They insisted most of the army remained loyal to President Talon. But their statements were scattered, lacking the force of a united front. The battle for Benin was now fought on the streets and in the headlines. Who to believe? The soldiers on TV or the ministers in hiding? The president's silence only fueled confusion. Without Talon's voice, the government's claims felt fragile. At the heart of the crisis are two men, President Patrice Talon and Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri. Talon, the businessman turned president, promised reform, but ruled with an iron grip. Supporters saw him as a modernizer, critics called him an autocrat. Tigri, once unknown, now led the rebellion as the face of the CMR. He claimed to be saving Benin from injustice and restoring hope. The CMR's takeover was bold but incomplete. Government ministers still communicated with the outside world. The coup's partial success left both sides vulnerable. For Tigri, failure meant death. For Talon, defeat meant the end of his rule. For Benin's people, the outcome would shape their future. Would Benin return to Talon's rule or fall under military authority? The standoff was a gamble with everything at stake. The nation's fate hung in the balance. This was more than a power struggle. It was a fight for Benin's soul. Benin's crisis is part of a wider pattern, the coup belt, stretching across West and Central Africa. Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Niger, Guinea-Bissau, and Madagascar have all seen recent coups. Benin was once a model of stability, a rare democratic success in the region. Its port and economy were vital for neighbors, making its stability crucial. The coup attempt shattered Benin's reputation. The CMR followed a familiar script: dissolve government, suspend constitution, promise reform. Public frustration with corrupt, ineffective governments gives soldiers some legitimacy. The regional wave of coups emboldened Benin's plotters. ECOWAS condemned the takeover, but past sanctions have failed to reverse coups elsewhere. Benin's crisis is a test for the region's commitment to democracy. As night falls, Benin faces three possible futures. First, the coup fails. Talon regains control, arrests the plotters, and restores order, but likely cracks down harder on dissent. Second, the coup succeeds. Tigri consolidates power, forms a military government, and Benin joins the coup belt. Third, a prolonged standoff, factions split, violence erupts, and the country risks civil war. Each path is dangerous. Failed coup means repression. Successful coup ends democracy. Stalemate could destroy the state. The people of Benin stand at a crossroads, their fate decided by armed men. The next 48 hours will determine the nation's future. The regional context makes a military victory possible, but Talon's government is not out yet. The world watches, hoping for peace but bracing for the worst. Benin's future hangs by a thread. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome will echo far beyond its borders. The clock is ticking. Darkness falls over Benin, but answers remain elusive. The day began with a coup and ends in tense silence. 13 million people wait, uncertain who rules their country. The fate of President Talon and the CMR's true strength are still unknown. For ordinary citizens, anxiety and fear fill the night. Benin's reputation as a stable democracy is shattered. The divisions that led to this crisis will not disappear overnight. Democracy is fragile, a lesson learned the hard way. The story is far from over. Tomorrow will bring new twists. For Benin and for West Africa, everything has changed.